14. It was my freshman year in high school, just starting out, and kind of was having some intestinal issues. Like I had a lot of cramping. Like right when I would eat, I would just feel sick and have to run to the bathroom, and nothing really a 14-year-old girl wants to deal with. Really scary, and so I like kind of just told my parents, I'm not really feeling well, and went out to my family doctor and kind of asked me about my symptoms and ran some tests and looked for infections, the normal stuff that they look for, and it turned out all those were negative, and so they sent me to a specialist or a gastroenterologist at the University of Minnesota hospital, and from there I had a lot more tests run. Like I had my first colonoscopy at 14. When you're 14 years old, that's the last thing you expect to have to go through, and I was diagnosed in October of 2003 with Crohn's disease. Kind of throughout high school, I was on all sorts of different drugs, like immunosuppressants, and I think my max in high school, I was on like 14 pills a day, and having to go to the nurse's office, go get my pills in the middle of the day, and kind of just struggling with feeling sick all the time. And one of the medications I was on, I had really bad side effects, like I was jittery and shaking, and my heart was racing, and like a puffy red face, nothing really, it's kind of hard to deal with. At the beginning of my senior year, I decided, after my mom had a doctor at Mayo, to switch my care to Mayo. I was initially given the Crohn's diagnosis at the university, and so when I transferred to Mayo, they ran kind of all the same tests that they did in the first place. And from what they could see at Mayo, they were leaning more towards an ulcerative colitis diagnosis. By the end of my freshman year in college, I was starting to get really sick, and that I was kind of at the end of the line when it came to medication options. And so I sat down with my doctor and my parents, and he kind of explained to me, we don't really have any more options drug-wise. Either you can go back on to high dosages of the medication that caused the really bad side effects that you hated in high school, or another option would be to have surgery. And so with the surgery, with colitis, it basically takes care of the colon and takes care of the disease in the colon is where it's at. And so they told me I had a pretty good chance if I had the surgery, not 100% chance that I would be completely disease-free at the end of it, but a pretty good chance. And so I kind of gambled on that and decided to have the surgery. And so went through with that. I had my surgeon and everything, had the first surgery, and a couple days after my first surgery, the biopsy results came back that it was indeed ulcerative colitis. So I had the takedown surgery in 2009, and been feeling the best I've felt since I was 14 years old, which is really great, I guess. It was one of the most important decisions I think I've ever had to make, but probably the best decision I've ever made. I'm really glad I went through with the surgery and can finally feel somewhat normal, or back to my new normal, I guess I like to call it.